Solidarity, no more revolution, we are free. And from this broken cross, we can see the inscription, we fight in name of God for our freedom and love. Also named Green Ring, because of the main street, San Martin. On 11th of November, Poznań organized 45 was also much destroyed. Not so much like Warsaw, it's 60%. Because
this is St. Paul II, the Polish Pope's parents. Okay, so we're going into the monastery with the Black Madonna in it. It's the monastery with the Black Madonna.
She's walking rather briskly.
Did you say she's rather frisky? Oh, that was on tape.
Talking about a nun.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
My name is Roman. I'm a Emankente priest, and I live here in this monastery. And I want to be your guide, but you have only 1 hour for visiting, so it will be an express tour. We'll see the miraculous picture of Our Lady, the treasury, and I tell you in the Basilica short history about this place. This place
That was dedicated to the 94 people that were important Polish people that were killed in 2010.
This copy is exactly as the same size as the original picture which we see later in the chapel. But the original picture which we see later was painted according to the tradition. More than 70 bandits, very bad people, bandits, attacked this monastery. The bandits weren't Polish, they were Czechists, from Czech country, South American Poland. 18th century, and is dedicated to St. John the Evangelist. Usually St. John the Evangelist is shown with a word eagle, that's why we can see the word important about the order. Under the feet of Jesus Christ means the scalps. It means that Jesus Christ through his death on the cross destroyed the death, defeated the death because he rose again. That's why symbol of the death is under his feet. Now look from the left, you see the main entrance to the monastery. That is the second door behind the first one. We can read in Polish Klausura, English Cloister. It means that this place is only for monks and for priests. Civilian. Swedish soldiers from Sweden, not the country of Poland, attacked Poland. They took all Poland and they tried to take Jasna Górę. But they couldn't take Jasna Górę. Why? Because we believe the mother of God from parent protected. So on April the 1st, 1656, that metal damage on the wall, Polish king.
Altar which was built in the 16th century. 5 minutes before the discovery of the Black Madonna. So we're waiting here to pass by in single file.
Świętej przede wszystkim uwielbiamy Boga Ojca za imię Jezusowe, czyli za osobę Jezusa Chrystusa. Abyśmy mogli godnie sprawować tę Najświętszą Eucharystię, uznajmy, że jesteśmy grzeszni. Spowiadam się Bogu. I wzywając jej macierzyńskiego imienia, nabrali otuchy. Przez naszego Pana Jezusa Chrystusa, Twojego Syna, który z Tobą żyje i króluje w jedności Ducha Świętego, Bóg przez wszystkie wieki wieków.
Z miłości przeznaczył nas dla siebie, jako przebranych synów przez Jezusa Chrystusa. Przedtem nadzieję złożyli w Chrystusie.
We just walked out of where the Black Madonna was. It was built in 1600s but rebuilt after a fire in the Baroque style in the 1700s. This is the basilica next to where the Black Madonna is. There's their guide. There are 120 voices and 8,000 pipes in this organ that was built in 1950 in 3 parts.
As you see, renovation was done.
It's the second part.
Money for renovation was given by European Union. Please stand up, stand up. We are leaving the Basilica. Decided to
Big by
leave them
Swedish
on the
cannonballs.
same place in remembrance of Swedish attack. This one is on the right.
That's where the Swedish
That
cannonballs
White
were
House
in the 16th century.
is from the 17th century. German officers lived during the Second World War. About 20 German officers lived there. But they didn't.
These frescoes were written in the 1950s, done in the 1950s that we're about to walk past. In these times the communists stopped the pilgrims coming in on foot. And they used to stop people and use them in confessionals. Pope John II, or whatever the Polish Pope was like now.
100,000 people. Many times a year it's full of people, especially in August. An altar was made in 2000 year. Holy Mass, which are celebrated by that altar only on Sundays and feast days from the beginning. And was dedicated to Polish people who lived in Siberia, in Russia, by communists. Here you can read the names of many places in Siberia where Polish people were living.
The statue right there is operating in 2000 by a Polish guy.
I think 3 says group
Ladies and
over here.
gentlemen, please come closer a little bit. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please set your receivers on channel number 5 here.
10,000.
index decreased, also area covered by the council.
That's where newcomers were registered that never served as a, that served as a warehouse. That was for SS horses. That there is the camp's kitchens. There's 1,000 prisoners in here.
There were orchestras in each of the camp's three divisions. Such as Alma Rosa, great violinist from Vienna, who worked in camp's orchestra as a conductor.
That was the orchestra that the prisoners had to listen to at night after bringing their dead back from the workhouses. All these buildings were built by prisoners. By prisoners during the while it was going. Building 4 was the mass extermination from 1942 to 1944. More than 1,000 people slept in a building this size. This was the urn of some of the people killed here, which was taken of some Hungarian Jews by an SS officer in 1994, a few minutes before their death. This is where the numbers were, the people were converted to numbers and their registration. And this is where they were changed from people to numbers. And it was only 400,000 done like this when 1.2 million was sent here.
Personal belongings like unloading part of the two groups to assistant and Nazi doctor who later carried out so-called selection process. So those people decided which victims according to arrivals were selected as suitable for work and later they could be registered with the council. They are heading for one of the gas chambers.
This guy was sentenced.
This picture was
That old
taken
man
just a few
is dead.
minutes before the launch. The last picture, later all the students were sent to council. There is a third part of Auschwitz complex. Their prisoners were forced to build this huge chemical more than 11 million Jews. So camp's authorities, they decided to establish an air canal for huge modern gas chambers with crematoria.
Там, где они спускались вниз, там были засилали одежду. Видишь?
There's a small elevator. There are other layers such as old body weights. And finally, corpses were burned, as you can see. There are
Pile of gear that they cut off.
no gentlemen. This hall you will enter room number 5. And there, please don't take pictures because there you will see things. When they were permitted to give only their having but when they made it to gas chamber, they were forced to leave their remaining clothes and carry luggage into the special undressing room. Work for Jewish victims which escaped. Because the government is only a small part of what was happening.
So-called Canada one. And we're going into 5, which is where there's evidence that they were murdered here. Evidence. There's some registration pictures coming up. People starved to death here. Cell number 18 is where the priest took the place of someone else and was starved to death for 12 days, and you will see the burning the candles in there. Cell number 18. We're about to enter the yard where shooting executions were carried out. This is where the shooting executions took place. 11th of November 1941, the first. People in front of the depot. Block 10 was closed so that people couldn't see. This was where they would hang them up by their backs so they couldn't reach the ground. Their tendons all broke and they couldn't use their arms. This is roll call ground where they had to report in at the start and the end of the day. This is where there was a mass hanging held on these barbs here. This is where the roll calls took place. Now we're coming up where the first Auschwitz commandant was killed in 1947 or put to death after being found guilty of mass murder. This was the SS buildings, and that's the gallows. Up to the only gas chamber that remains. This was changed to a bomb shelter. It was the first gas chamber. 1,000 people put here. There was a village here that was replaced by this camp, and everything you're looking at is original except for the rail tracks and the barbed wire. So everything here is original. It was much bigger than Auschwitz 1 where we were before, included gas chambers, male and female areas.
Here it is, you have between 1942 and 1944, this unloading crematoria located at the end of that road. So Nazis decided to create this unloading platform, this one inside here, to make all process of mass extermination quicker. Here at the end,
That was that to make it the extermination quicker.
like at Auschwitz. So they had only a few seconds at Birkenau for living themselves here.
That was the building we just went in, and they were only allowed to go to the bathroom twice a day. And then the other prisoners had to go in there with their hands and dig out the feces.
Is now protected by the law. We are now in the western part of the city, which is mainly residential. In fact, all the buildings that you see on both sides of the street and around this junction, they are all student hostels, dormitories. So 10th centuries AD, Kraków already existed, and it was the provincial capital of a region of Poland called Małopolska. The word Małopolska means Little Poland. It's a geographical and historical name used until today. And as early as the first half of the 11th century, Kraków became capital of the United Polish Territories. So shortly after that, the city began to develop and it flourished, especially in the 13th, 14th and 1500s, which was the golden age in the history of Poland. But about 400 years ago, in the early 1600s, one of the Polish kings decided to move the royal residence from Kraków to Warsaw. Now I will stop the history of Kraków for a while, because I want to point to some behind the fence and very old train engine. This is the university campus of one of the two technical universities of Kraków, which was founded in 1919, just after World War I, to train Poland regained independence, not as a monarchy, but as a republic. The time of independence did not last very long, however, because after 21 years, World War II started. So this is when our city and our country lost independence again. So this was very short history of Kraków and of Poland. I hope this will help you understand what we will talk about later. And in a moment we are going to travel along the old town's outer ring road, and on both sides of this street, which we are waiting to enter, you will see a lot of different academic institutions of Kraków, buildings of some universities, libraries, museums, and scientific research institutes, etc. So this street is called with the name of three famous Polish 19th century romantic poets. Two of them are buried in the crypts of the cathedral, so you will hear their names during our visit. So in the Mozart House, lots of different art galleries and more than 40 different museums. So of course, to see them all, to visit them all, you would need several weeks. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this street is long, which goes all the way from the south to the north. Left on the riverbank you can see the panorama of the Castle Hill, which we are going to explore later. So now we are about to cross the river again. On your left, one more time, you can see the panorama of the Castle Hill, which is called the Wawel Hill. So you can see the cathedral towers and the medieval fortification towers. And on our right, on the riverbank, you can see another famous place, White Church with the two towers. Is called church. Basement of the church, there is a crypt of honor where several
This is a place in the 1300s that the first Jewish community was established in this town. All the synagogues in this area were plundered. There's a museum of Judaism has been.
If you lose this, I will have it. It's forewarning.
These kosher food in Jewish communities. Klezmer music, which is a type of Jewish folk music. It's one of the oldest synagogues in the area, and it's now used for kindergarten. Helena Rubinstein was born here, who made the big industry in the US. This is a continuously operating synagogue for 500 years. Behind the synagogue is a cemetery that dates back to the 1600s. This is a monument to all the people killed, all the Jews killed.
6 days after the beginning of the war, the German army was already in a 5.5-year-long occupation of our city and of our country started. Immediately, the Germans began to introduce all sorts of persecutions of the local people. Special measures were taken.
Schindler's List was filmed in this area, and parts of it in the squares, because from here in Krakow they were sent over to the Jewish ghettos, all the people that were living here in the Jewish quarter. Down the end there's a old synagogue, and there was a synagogue down the other end with people buried from the 16th century. We'll have to stop the bus. That was the area, the old area.
The interesting museum of city engineering, his pharmacy inside the ghetto. So he gave a lot of help, but first of all he was an eyewitness to everything that happened here, and he described it all in a book when the people were gone, but the whole square was covered with old furniture thrown out through behind those houses, behind those buildings. So if someone would like to visit Schindler's factory during your free time, be the main square of the district of Podgórze, and on the left in 1 hour. And the bridge which is in front of us was here before and during the war, and this bridge was also in fact one of the places where the famous movie Schindler's List was filmed. And a new built only about 4 years ago or 5, and a new tradition was started there where side it's a museum.
This is the start of the Castle Hill Walk in Krakow in Poland.
Not here. This is, you meet her where our tour finishes, and our tour doesn't finish. Okay, I think we're...
The 1740 was a leader of a uprising against the partitions in Poland, and there's a museum somewhere here. So this guy went over and fought in the War of Independence. Kosciuszko. Yes, Kosciuszko. Yeah. Oh, okay. Who knew? Good news. That's the guy that Mount Kosciuszko was named after. Oh. Yeah. We're visiting the cathedral.
The most important is this. No photographs, please.
Okay.
But I have seen someone has got a video camera.
Say that again.
Whale, a rhino, and a mammoth bones. They'll let you have as long as those bones are in place. The cathedral will never be harmed, and so far, so good.
Okay, thank you. This is where most of the Polish kings are buried, and that's where their coronation was for several hundred years. Relics of the saints. Stanisław. Common name of Poland. Murdered as a conflict by the Polish. In the crypts of the hall are kings and saints. Other people not part of the royal family. General Kosciuszko, which is also named over Kosciuszko, is also buried in there.
And in front of us you can see another royal tomb. It is all built of white stone, and inside that tomb there is the body of a Polish king whose name was Władysław Łokietek. And just 15 years ago the queen was canonized, was announced a saint, and this is when her relics were put into a little box under the altar where she liked to come and pray. So here in the box under the altar there are relics of Saint Queen Jadwiga. After his father died, his father was buried on the other side. He became king for a long time, almost 40 years.
This is the church dedicated to John Paul II, who became a priest here in the underground cemetery during the Second World War and was made a priest just after the Second World War. Came back to this church 7 times during his being Pope. This is
Persze miért itt álljanak és ázzanak?
Romanesque architecture. On top of it, the brick was added in the first.
We're going this way to visit the royal courtyard. We're now entering the royal courtyard. Royal courtyard.
Picky time.
Okay. That's right. Todd, we've been pronouncing Mount Kosciuszko incorrectly for years.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't pronounce yours in Australia.
Kosciuszko. It just doesn't sound the same. I'm going skiing on Mount Kosciuszko.
Replaced by those stones, another place. So now
That's where Pope Paul was when he was in Krakow.
And the deer in the headlights look.
Where his steak was.
there is the castle hill. Did you get your scarf recently? My mom, this is actually my mom. That's good. Yes.
A cheap subsidised food that was communist was during the communist rule, and it survived. A very short waterway on the downtown. Franciscan century chapel built in the 13th century rebuilt central to. And a similar history, the Dominican church.
For a big pretzel. I mean, not $1.50. $3 in New York City. The Polish what?
So now we're entering the main square.
Oh.
I've got no idea what it's about, but it looked like it.
So you came here last
There's
night?
three important medieval tower with a clock on the. This is the 15th century tower of the City Hall, of which now there is a small historical museum in the middle. Can you hang on to that for a minute?
What?
Oops, take it again. So this was, one in here was like a medieval, do it again. It's like a medieval shopping mall in the 15th century, that metal.
Interesting museums. One is located on the first floor, is the Gallery of Polish 19th century art, and the other museum is located 2 meters underground, where in a really very interesting way they show the Lady or St. Mary's Church, where we are going now for 2 short ceremonies. So not to miss them, let's go to
The main university bells built just after 1400 with a lovely little courtyard.
Well, that was so.
This is a summer post office. That's honey. We're about to go in here for a service just before midday.
What are we going to do it here?
now look around.
I was going to tell
Famous Basilica of Our Lady in Krakow, or St Mary's Church in Krakow, built in the 14th century, so it's all Gothic architecture with the two high caves dominating the old town. This is the bugle call just before the trumpeter of Krakow that happens just before noon. And the ceremony of the opening of the altar. And then the bugle just before 12. So above the altar is showing the coronation of Queen Mary of the Queen of Heaven and Earth. After the war, there was a special commission of Polish art after the war, and they found the altar in the American occupation zone. In 1946, they brought it back. It was handed over by General Eisenhower. So it was stolen by the Germans, but they got it back.
Other events from the New Testament, and several times invaded by the Tartars, who were rather wild and uncivilized, always came very fast and unexpected, set fire, plundered, looted everything they found on their way. And after one of these invasions, two important decisions were taken. One was to build the city walls for defense, and the other one was to keep somebody on a high place to play, but he wasn't able to finish because he got hit with a Tartar arrow right on the neck. So the melody is not finished now, it stops suddenly. It is repeated every hour on the hour, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, from one of the church towers. So now we will leave the church and I will show you where to look to see the practical information. This place exactly.
That's where the trumpeter is.
Very nice afternoon. Thank you very much. And I'm switching off the speakers. Thank you very much. He's looking right at me when he was waving. Right at me.
This pork sandwich is good.
Życ odbicia dzwonów. Proszę Państwa, 4 dolne dzwony już nie funkcjonują. Po prostu nie da się nimi kołysać, gdyż wybudowano w XX wieku.
Going up the stairs, up the bell tower.
W 520 roku król Zygmunt I stał. Dlaczego?
What's that?
Mu się syn dał
Oh. Yep, it was fine, but I did have a horrible feeling I just lost it.
Yeah.
Wykonanie dzwonu powierzono pisarzowi, który był Niemcem, nazywał się
I
Asper.
want to line up. So we're at the top of the bell tower in Krakow. And on the what? Wawel Hill?
Pan jest tabela, która wymienia wszystkie 24 dni w tym roku, kiedy będzie dzwonku.
Who are you waving at?
Anybody that'll look.
No ale są często tak, tutaj jest.
And this is the top of the bell tower up in Krakow here. There's some sort of ruins.
Perfect, let's cut it all up.
Well, one last pan around of Krakow, the major square. Yes, Deb.
Putting in for a transfer.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Smile, ladies. Are you having fun yet? All right.
Very, very fun.
It is on. Very, very fun.
Very, very beautiful.
Very, very beautiful and very, very important.
Delicious food. They can have some delicious
All right.
food.
Okay. Now,
What about hangover?
What exactly? Because
Sunday mornings on Sunday. That's a bloody short. How attentive did you? I was thinking, just a little bit.
I feel jealous that
oh my gosh.
towards the salt mines.
All the sheet in.
Oops,
Come on, lady. Oh my God.
Everybody, cuddle down.
I was always a bit suspect about you, Lance.
We're going up.
Put some more on.
I'm sorry.
I said no grabbing soon.
Now we're at the bottom of the salt mine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut right in front of you.
Get it.
Meters long. Please believe me, salt mine is huge. But if you keep me, no problem for you. I know very well, salt mine, you are safe with me.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just please remember, 7 miners generation with my family worked in the salt mine. Of course, excavated rock salt. I am only guide. Just I worked here with my grandfather when I was small girl. Today my husband is mining engineer. I am only guide, but you are safe with me. Please remember. Okay.
How far underground are we? 64 metres. Deb is not very good at listening.
Wooden equipment, you know, metal, iron corrosion here, but the salt very good preserve the wood. Many thousands years ago, on the surface here was a very big forest. Today forest is here, underground. It's true. For a new wooden construction, like is here, because in this place is a new one, it's only here about 4 years, the carpenters must transport the wood from Zakopane.
It's night vision.
Chamber on the tourism. This chamber was excavated in the 18th century. But before 18th century, here was a block of salt. The miners excavated salt from here because, please remember, the miners excavated in the salt mine only block of tile, because only inside block of tile was a pure salt, was a eating salt. But really, the miners don't know where is a block of salt. And first, the miners excavated 2,000 chambers. But sometimes chamber is small, like is here, because please believe me, here was a small block of salt. Sometimes it's a big, because it was big blocks. First chamber on the tourist road, it's named Nicolas Copernicus. You see, salt is on the floor, on the walls, on the ceiling. All is a salt. Oh, I'm so sorry, no everywhere. Only the door is made from wood, you see, wooden door.
Even the steps.
Rock salt, yes. Rock salt like is here around is a pure rock salt. Is it a salt like this on the, it's the same salt. Yes, it's the same.
But this is so smooth, is that
Yes.
touching? From
Yes,
people touching?
yes. 14 or 16 degrees, about 57 Fahrenheit. In the past was an condition here. Everywhere accumulation salt water. Water was on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls. When water evaporated and concentration-wise, so that you can see just up. But please remember, salt like this on the ceiling is a salt with a salty water. It's secondary salt. Rock salt.
King Bela IV. Kinga's last stop before entering the capital of Poland was the little township of Wieliczka.
King Bela IV had a generous dowry of jewels and gold, but Kinga did not want them.
Father, I beg you to allow me to give the Polish people something other than jewels, something they do not have.
Kinga struck Wieliczka's hills and recommended that miners start digging there.
Your Highness, here is what we found. This is a block of purest rock salt, and there is something glittering inside.
Dear Lord, this is my engagement ring.
It was the magic of Kinga's ring that mysteriously brought salt from Hungary to Poland. And that's how Poland grew rich, by acquiring salt, thanks to Kinga's generosity. Her godliness.
stalactites up the back.
Just in the corner on the floor, have a look.
Saint Barbara is the patron saint of
gold miners. Kinga is a patron of salt miners, but really, when the miners discovered rock flowers, yes? Oh yes, thanks. There was underground leak, water was here. Here you can see how the miners transported the water pouring inside the wooden tubes, because metal iron corrosion here. But the the miners put in the wooden barrels placed on the stages. Here you can see two stages, big and small. Next one is wooden cart. Wooden carts or wooden boxes were pushed by this way. Please look down. In the 18th century, this place was a real track. On the end corridor is a horse. It's imitation horse today. But really the horses worked in the salt. One moment, in the salt mine worked the miners used the horses for transport, like you can see here, or for operated wooden machines. And I think so, the horses were unhappy here, because of livestock here never come back. People who transported the salt, who transported the water, who transported the wood, who eliminated gas. Just really the miners were farmers. Example in the summer.
An imitation of Kubra, the last horse to be down here 7 years ago after the mine closed 16 years ago.
Here is very good acoustic, yes? In each place wide is a very good acoustic, but quiet on the tourist road is only sometimes, yes. Have a look at the floor. Because of the floor is a fine pure salt from the walls. Just the floor is a table salt. Sometimes the floor is used for eating or cooking. You can make it, yes. I repeat for you. Fine pure salt. The miners put in the wooden barrels placed on the slaves. Sorry. Director and manager in the salt mine today is government. In the past were kings. In the past was a royal mine. Today, secondary salt. And on the ceiling you can see again stalactites. But I think so here it looks like macaron. No, spaghetti. Are you second? Macaroni. It's macaroni, so yes, just because spaghetti. No. Okay. Just here is okay, please come closer to me. And thousands years ago, the people who lived on the surface, just one moment, because who lived on the surface, apart from keeping domestic animals, also produced the salt, but with the salt water on the top of the surface. How? Have a look. Salt water put in the special vase with the salt water put on the fire. The water evaporated in the vase was only salt. Please remember, 90 meters below the surface. Just this place, the miners use it in the salt mine for vertical transport, fine loose salt by the mining shaft. Please look deeper, where is a wooden barrels mining shaft. Here is a hand cross machine. Hand cross machine was operated by miners. 4 very strong miners operated this wooden machine. Now I need 2 volunteers. Lady, can you see? Everybody can do heater. And how this stop work is change direction. Okay, 2 hours. Okay, here you can see how the miners transported the final salt from a wooden bar with the salt transported by passages to the mining shaft and by huge wooden machine on the surface. What was the point of that? What were they doing with the competition? Ladies.
Right behind us, they were waiting for us to
Please be careful. Example, be careful. Yes. inside the wooden tubes, here is one open wooden tube and special wooden machine. This wooden machine was operated by miners. Two very strong miners worked only 10 minutes and was a change. And again, another 2 miners worked 10 minutes and was a change, because it was very hard work. Inside wooden machines, the wooden tap the water and water drink here. But because today is imitation transport for water, it's the same water. Okay, just we are leaving this place. Yes, it's 17th century. An office is a real one. Yes,
It looks like money to go pee.
Yes, just example. And foreman, how many dwarfs work in the salt mine? Because I remember very well a story about 7 dwarfs and Snow White. 7 dwarfs worked in the diamonds mine.
Right.
Yes, how many dwarfs work here in the salt mine?
1, 2, 3. 2,000. Right?
Oh. The miners were very religious people. Prayed here before your work, after your work, during the work. Really, in the salt mine, there were many sacred places. I know about in 19th century, 78. But sometimes sacred place was only sacred picture, monument, or chapel. Few years ago, the workers transported just here, special for tourists, from another place in the salt mine. Wooden blocks. The miners excavated salt from here 50 years. Started excavated salt from up passage and excavated salt that you can see on my right side. First block, next one, next one. In the first part, 20th century, was only chamber, empty chamber. This chamber, again miners. Only miners, no artists, decorated for a sacred place, for a chapel. Just only 3 miners. 3 workers decorated this place after your work, only in your free time. It was your hobby. 3 miners decorated this place 7 and 0. 70 years in the first part 20th century, but no all together. First started decorating this place 1 miner after your work, next one, last miner. Finished decorating. It was a Last Supper by picture Leonardo da Vinci, because the walls are decorated by New Testament stone. Now this chapel we use for a mass celebration. It's every Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning, because here is very good acoustic. Like Dead Sea water, really is different. In the Dead Sea is hot water. Here it's only 10 degrees. Salt Lake is a real one in 19th century. In 19th century, here was 9 meters in the deep underground. Today only 3 meters because you see the water evaporate. See coins because visitors make the wishes here. It's a special place for wishes. Because you know the miners every day recycle your life. Szczęść Boże is still active here. Because when I see second guide on the tourist road or workers, I say for everyone, Szczęść Boże. Can you repeat miners underground hello? Szczęść Boże. Oh my God, it's just I see.
And this is the miners' way of saying
Marshall, you
hello.
know
It's
Boisha.
sort of like saying God bless
Boisha.
you. It's
Boisha.
Boisha.
Yeah.
Would
you like the brown bit or the white bit? I probably did the red ones.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the Michał Witzel chamber. Komora is a chamber. And salt was excavated from this place in the 18th century. Here was a very lot of salt. Here is a 35 meters. The miners excavated from this place all salt. Everywhere today is a lot. When the miners excavated all salt, miners found here. Really, it was big attraction for tourists. Today, no, it's easy. I'm sorry because Crystal Cave is completely closed for you and for me. Inside Crystal Cave, there are crystals on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls. Just Crystal Cave experience is very, very quiet.
Yeah.
I have got a good news for you. We go downstairs, no upstairs, okay? Your direction is a deeper and deeper place.
You probably got a
Mushrooms are real, man. Huh?
Just 1 minute, please, for me here. And Drozdowice chamber. Drozdowice chamber was excavated in the 17th century. But everything here is a new, because this place was renovated. It's a new wooden construction and new wooden floor. Wooden floor here is a special made for dancing. Because sometimes here is a party for students, for minors, sometimes it's a small meeting. Of course, if you hear as a party or meeting, this chamber is a closet for tourists. Salt monument here illustrates miner and carpenter was carved.
This is Chopin. He came in 1929.
Okay? Hello. Salt monument here illustrates Józef Piłsudski. Józef Piłsudski was a Polish marshal. In 1925 was a president in Poland. In the salt mine was visitor in 1990. But salt monument was carved here in 1997 by miner Stanisław Arnold. All here, Piłsudski chamber is the last one on the tourist road, but in front of us there are more chambers. Yes. Okay. And traveled here by boat. Because here was a 2 meters water. Today no, because you see the water evaporated. It's only 80 centimeters is in the middle section here. Because visitors traveled here by boat. This chamber needs a special patron, the people who can't swim. Here, but really 10. Because first we must go up, 5 meters up. on the end corridor is 125 kilometers. Because we are in the last chamber of the tourist road, I repeat for you, we visit today only 20 chambers. In the Salt Mine there are 2,000 chambers. We visit today only 2 kilometers passages. In the Salt Mine there are 300 kilometers passages. Yes, chamber, but really salt was excavated from this place in 19th century. Here is 37 meters. Because it was a very big block of salt, the miners excavated salt from this place by many passages. Everywhere where is a wood was a corridor, excavated same block of salt by many passages. Because now is the time for your 10 minutes or... But my way here is at 2 minutes. 1.5 minutes is mine.
Any other questions? I don't know about her.
So we'll end at the Poland video. This is for wedding receptions. Wedding receptions.
Something's happening too, they have drinks poured.
Oh yeah. Going through the St. Paul's Chapel.
Before we go up.
Yeah, going towards the exit.
They've discovered this new fault line and a few others. But they've had over 1 million.
The final dinner in Warsaw.
My brother lives down there still, and most of my family. My parents moved up to the so that's right there. Yeah.
There's the horrible lady that gave us
the new estate that was affected. I remember
and then the Aussie crew and the Kiwi crew with Lance filming me as I film Lance.
Very competitive.
Who is the alpha male?
I don't think we've determined that yet.
And what's become of and what's become of the church? The cathedral that was
0 hours, 0 minutes. I think I might be here.
Okay, we're on.
So we have reached the end of our Polish vacation. We've had a wonderful time. As I predicted, we ended up at the Aussie and New Zealand table, who are the fun kids of this vacation. We've had a wonderful time. Deb, what do you have to say?
Really great American.
Oh, yes. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know we joke about Lance, but you know.
One of my very good friends, the lady I saw.
Say something, Lance. I've still got a couple of seconds. Say Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.